commanded me to bury her there. Why does Hashem need Rachel there? Because Rachel is the proverbial Yiddish mama who was there for the Jewish people as they were being pushed into exile by the cruel Babylonians. Shetehele Ezra, they should be there, that she should be there to offer help and assistance. Livoneh, to her offspring. Kisheyagla Isan Nebuzadran. When Nebuzadran, Nebuchadnezzar's general, will exile them by Yoevim Derech Sham, and they were pushed past that point. Yetzis Rachel al Kivra. We know the famous teaching in the oral law that the soul of Rachel comes forth, hovering over her grave. Ubeichan, she was lamenting and crying. Umavakeshes aleim rachamim, and pleading with Hashem for compassion. Shenamar, the famous verse. This is actually a haftorah of Rosh Hashanah. Keil b'ramon nishma. A voice is heard on high. As the verse goes on, Nihi b'chi samrurim. There's this horrible wailing. What's the cry? What's the wailing? Rochel mivakal bonel. Rachel, the matriarch, is crying for her children. They're being exiled. And even though we read in the Medrashim that Avraham went and started crying, and Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and Sorah, and Rivka, and Leah, and Moshe Rabbeinu, and everybody's crying. But Hashem says to Rachel, your prayers were accepted. Yesh sochar lifulosech. There is reward to your deed, the verse says, Niyum Hashem. Again, all of this is part of the Rosh Hashanah Haftorah. And there's the famous promise in the book of Yirmiyahu, which also became a famous song, Vishavu vonim ligvulam. Hashem promises Rachel, your children will return back to the borders of Israel. It's a temporary exile. It's not forever. And in fact, that's what happened. 70 years later, there was the establishment of the Second Commonwealth, the second Beis HaMikdash. Baruch Hashem, now Israel is booming. Vishavu bonim ligvulam. That Israel is perpetually the territory of the Jewish people. That's the promise that Hashem gave the soul of Rachel. This is what Yaakov says to Yosef, why I buried your mother on the road. Because she is the Yiddish mama who prevailed upon Hashem to keep that promise, to make that promise. Yunklas Tirgum, Unklas explained this, Keruv Ara, like a certain measure of land, Kadeshir Charish Yisrael, that amount that it takes a man to plow 1 day's worth. Vaymerani, and I say, Shoyala Lahem Ketzev, they had a specific measure, which was like an amount of one plowing. Kordi in Old French, Kedamrin and Krevetone, Madamasik Talim Bekar. So that is the explanation, the beautiful explanation, which Yosef accepts from his father as to why she was buried there. Now we read in verse 8, Vayar Yisrael as Bnei Yosef, and Yaakov takes a good look at the sons of Yosef. Vayomer, and he says, Mi Eila, who are these? Which is one of the most perplexing verses in the Torah. What do you mean, who are these? Yaakov was living there for 17 years. He was learning every day with Ephraim. Menashe visited him 3 times a week, brought him tuna fish sandwiches. What do you mean, who are these? Who are they? Rashi, Vayar Yisrael as Bnei Yosef. Rashi tells us from the oral law, Bikesh lebarucham, he was about to bless them, to do what Yosef asked him to, Ministalka Shechina Mimenu, and the divine presence, Hashem, the Shechina, removed itself from him, departed from him. Why? Because there's some pretty tough characters that were destined to come forth from Ephraim and Menashe. The Fisha Osed Yerovam, because Yerovam ben Nevat, who brought about the split within the Jewish people. He created the kingdom of the 10 tribes, and Achav, the cruel king, Ahab and Jezebel, Lot says me Ephraim, they were destined to come forth from Ephraim. Ephraim is the tribe representing the 10 tribes. The Yehu Ubonov, and Yehu and his sons be Menashe. So there's some pretty tough characters. So Hashem removed himself from Yaakov. Vayemer mi eila. He said, who is this? Mehechon yotzu eila. Wait a second, where are these coming from? Shein aruyim lebracha. They don't deserve blessing. Vayemer Yosef el aviv. So Yosef responds to his father and he says, you want to know who these are? Bonaihem. They are my children, my sons. Asher nosan li Elokim. God gave me bozeh. Here, as Rashi says, Yosef showed him his ksuba. He said, I am married, glat kosher. These are holy children. Vayomar, and Yaakov said, in that case, kochem no elai, bring them to me, va'avorachem, and I will bless them. Rashi, bozeh herahu lishtar eirus, and he showed him the document of betrothal, lishtar ksuba, and the marriage contract. Bikash Yosef racham adavar, and Yosef prayed to Hashem, v'nochal ruach hakodesh, and the spirit of Hashem once again returned and dwelled upon Yaakov. Vayomar kochem no elai va'avorachem. This is what the pasuk says. The prophets, Vanechi tirgalti le'Ephraim. I interceded for Ephraim. Kocham al Zerayoseh, he took them upon his arms. Tirgalti ruchi b'Yaakov. I have placed my spirit in Yaakov b'shvil Ephraim, for the sake of Ephraim. Ad shelakochan al Zerayoseh, until Yaakov took them upon his arms and did give them blessing, despite the fact that these individuals would come forth from Ephraim and Menashe. Okay, end of Torah portion.
Jewish audio on Chabad.org.
Good morning. Welcome. The second portion of Vayechi, chapter 48, verse 10. We learned yesterday, Jacob is about to pass on at the age of 147, and Yosef wants to seize the moment and have his father, Yaakov, extend blessings, the blessings of a tzaddik, to his, Yosef's, two sons, Menashe and Ephraim. Verse 10, Ve'ene Yisrael kovdu mizeiken. The eyes of Yaakov were dim from old age. Lo yuchal lires. He didn't see well. I guess today you would call it legally blind. Vayagish Esam Elov, and Yosef brought them close to him, his father, Yaakov. Vayishak lohem, and he kissed them. Vayechabek lohem, and he embraced them. Vayemer Yisrael el Yosef. So Yisrael, who is Yaakov, says to Yosef, wow, Re'ei fanecha leifiloti. I had never thought that I'd see your face again. Vihine, and behold, Hera Eloisi Elokim, God has shown me, not only you, but Gam Ezarecha, also your children. Leifiloti, says Rashi, Leimeloani libi lachshev bachshova. My heart didn't even allow me to think in that direction, that I would ever see you again. She'era fanecha oid. Piloti loshen machshova, the word filoti, Rashi says, is from the root source, thought. 12, Yosef Esam, Meim Birkov, and Yosef brought them out from between his knees, Vayishtachol la'apav, and he fell down upon his face, Arza, to the ground. 12, Yosef Esam, la'achash, and Shokam, after Yaakov kissed them, Heitziam Yosef Meim Birkov, Yosef brought them out from between his knees, Kidei, in order, liyashvam, to place them, Zeh, one, meaning the older one, Menashe layomin, to Yosef's right. V'zeh, and this one, meaning the younger one, lasmeil, to Yosef's left. Because in Judaism, the right takes precedence, so the older one should be at the right hand. Lismech, Yodav, he should be able to lean, place, lay his hands, alehem, upon them, ulevoracham, and to bless them. Vayishtachu la'apov, kishachozor la'achera,